Hello everyone and welcome back to Matty Reacts, the channel where we take a look at things we've never watched or listened to before. And today we're taking a look at the second single from Will Young's upcoming album, Light It Up. It's called Midnight. Now first of all, I'm going to apologise if I sound a little bit snuffly. It is the summer and therefore I get terrible hay fever every day, or most days. So I'm very sorry if that comes across, but I'm going to try and edit out all the offending sounds. But yeah, I really enjoyed Falling Deep when that came out a couple of, about a month ago now. Really looking forward to the album coming out. So I thought I'd check out the newest single called Midnight, which I've seen a bit of an interview that he did about it, and it seems to be a little bit of an anthem about getting older, which I very much feel. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it, I guess. It's very atmospheric, isn't it? How on earth did I get so? How did I suddenly get so old? I feel that. Yeah, time is so weird. Don't you think time is weird, right? Because when I was younger, when I was a kid, it seemed to take like 10 years between Christmases. Like, that was how I measured things as a kid. Like, how far away is the next Christmas? And it seemed to take forever to get from one Christmas to the next. And then it's almost like the perceived speed of time is relative to your age, inversely. So as you get older, that time between Christmases gets smaller and smaller, and suddenly it's like Christmas every 2 months instead of every year. Where does the year go? And I think that's kind of what this is getting at. Like, how has this suddenly happened? Like, I don't feel like I'm in my mid 30s. Whenever I picture myself like in my head doing something, it's still me as like a 21-year-old scene kid. I don't know, that's just how I feel, at least. I don't know if everybody else feels the same way, but I am quite a maudlin person. I get quite sad about the past. Not the past as in the past was terrible, but sad that I'm not in the past anymore. I maintain that, the time between 16 and 22 was probably like, I loved that time. I know there's loads of people that hate that time of their life, but I absolutely adored that time of my life. I did loads of things, met loads of people. I wouldn't change it. I just wish I could live it again. I'd do some things differently, but I wouldn't change anything that happened. I don't know what that means. But yeah, so I completely understand where he's coming from when he says, I look in the mirror and how am I suddenly so old? But yeah, in terms of the sound of the song, I can hear hints of 80s, but this one isn't as 80s as the previous one. I wonder if we're going to get a full chorus, or whether it's just like a refrain, like he just did the running around at midnight refrain. I wonder if that's all we get, or whether there's something else, and if that will be 80s inspired. Right, okay. Does sound like we might get a small drop here. No. It's clearly catchy because it's already in my head. Oh, it's building. What are we getting here? Okay. No. Yeah, so this is very different in, and I'm going to use my favorite word again, very different in vibe, you know, in terms of vibes compared to the last song. So the last song was very upbeat and dancey, and this is more sort of reflective, and it almost sort of reflects the subject matter in that sense. So this one's a bit more about, I'm getting older. How did this happen? How did I get here? And it's sort of more, the song gives more space for that thought to breathe, which is really nice. I think I prefer Falling Deep as a song, but lyrically, this one's pretty interesting to listen to. I did in the interview that I mentioned that I watched about that I read about this. It wasn't a video interview. It was a text interview. He mentioned that line about why does nobody tell me that they're married, and he said that sort of whole first part of the verse is a reflection on getting older within the gay community specifically, and it's interesting that I don't think there's many songs that I've heard, at least, that are about getting old as a member of the gay community. You hear the generic songs about getting old, you hear songs about being as part of being a part of the LGBTQ community, but I haven't heard really much that has meshed those two together. And maybe that's just because I haven't come across that sort of that niche of songs on Spotify or whatever. But it's an interesting area to look at, because I think that is a unique experience. So yeah. I can definitely hear more 80s influences creeping in as the song goes on, though. It's a lot to think about, isn't it? You can't even keep the houseplants alive, the diets are driving him mad, and therapy only ever seems to leave him even lonelier. Like, what do you do in that sort of situation? If that's like a genuine feeling, like, I understand about the houseplants, and I'm currently doing some sort of diet eating regime, so I understand that as well. And yeah, it is frustrating as hell. Like, as you were younger, like, you could just like eat a bit less for a couple of weeks and you'd lose like half your body weight. And as you get older, it becomes harder and harder to maintain a healthier weight, I think. And I'm not the most active of people, but I do run and a couple of times a week and walk an okay amount in the week when I'm not at work. Yeah, I do work an office job, so I don't get that many steps during work hours. I do love this sort of the building up, the swoosh in the background. This sort of it's like a trumpety synth, isn't it? It's been used in like EDM songs within the past decade that sounds like this. So hearing it in this sort of context is definitely very interesting. Not necessarily something that I expected, but it is almost like a chilled out EDM drop. Yeah. So like I say, as a song, I preferred Falling Deep. That's just my sort of cup of tea in terms of it was more overtly 80s. It was more upbeat. It was more fun to sing along to, I guess, is the sort of criteria for me for the sort of songs I prefer. Having said that, there's nothing wrong with this song. Very good song. And yeah, like I say, it's more reflective. I think you'd listen to this and be a bit more pensive, a bit more maudlin about your life, and it certainly made me think back to the differences between me 20 years ago and now. And I'm sure for Will it's very similar, because 20 years ago he was just hot off the Pop Idol victory, and I'm sure for him his life has been even crazier in those 20 years and changed even more. So yeah, it's a very good reflective song, and I think in the right mindset this would be a song I would listen to a lot. However, for these sort of songs, I do find that I have to be in a mindset where I want to listen to reflective and pensive songs. I don't want to listen to them all the time. They don't put me in a good mood. So if I want to listen to stuff that puts me in a good mood, I wouldn't listen to this. But in general, very good song. Definitely going on the playlist. And it just makes me wonder what else is coming from this project. If we can get two quite contrasting songs like that, although they are linked by sort of, the hints of 80s in this and the really overt 80s in the Falling Deep song. I would see if that thread sticks through, because I know he worked with a lot of Scandinavian writers on this album. I've seen interviews where he's stated that, and I think Scandipop is has the potential to be chart topping at any time. Now, I'm not saying I think that Will is going to go back to the top of the charts. It's been a long time since a single of his has done that, but wouldn't it be nice? 22 years I think into his career, if he could make his way back to the top of the charts. I just think that'd be nice. So hopefully single 3 is a certified bop that just catches the attention of everybody. He's got it in him. I mean, if you've never heard Jealousy before, I recommend going to listen to Jealousy from a few albums ago. That was kind of like the last big hit that he had. So if you can have something like that on this album, not in terms of sound, but in terms of impact, it'll be good. So yeah, thank you for dropping by, and I'll see you again in another reaction video very soon.